Here at Nardin Jewelry, we're an authorized dealer for over 20 brands. And so today I want to feature 5 of my favorite watches that we currently have in stock that I think you should consider adding to the collection. So let's get right into it. Guys, I just want to take a moment to thank you all so much for hitting 10,000 subscribers here on the Nardin Jewelry YouTube channel, an absolutely amazing milestone. I'm looking forward to the next milestone of hitting 100,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for the support. It truly has been extremely humbling and amazing to see, and I'm looking forward to many more achievements in the future. And so today I wanted to feature 5 of my favorite watches that we currently have in stock here at Nardin Jewelry, starting first with, I think, what will be a future classic, and that is the Tudor Black Bay 58. I mean, not much needs to be said that hasn't been said already in terms of, just the overall aesthetics of the watch, the proportions, it being a 39mm wristwatch, which I think is just absolutely amazing. I love the gilt accents, the red triangle at 12. Everything about this watch screams kind of a vintage watch brought to the 21st century. And I think it is one of those true classics that I think will endure the test of time and certainly has been one of Tudor's best-selling wristwatches. And I love what they've done with the Black Bay 58 line. They've expanded it so much that, you now have Black Bay 58 GMTs, even for example, the Black Bay Chronos, Black Bay 41s. There's such a great variety. And the price point here at $41.75 retail is just an amazing price point. I mean, it's hard to really think of anything that really competes in terms of the overall value with respect to the build quality, the construction of the bracelet, the case, the quality of the movement, its shock resistance, its accuracy, not to mention, of course, its power reserve. And again, in a 39mm case size, I think it's absolutely perfect. I think the only true competitor within the Tudor line for me personally is the Pelagos 39. I'm a big fan of the Pelagos 39. The only thing I think that is a drawback is that it has 4 lines of text, which I like here. It's 3, it's a little more streamlined. It feels just a little bit more simple, which is what I feel like a no-date watch should have. But I love the bracelet on the Pelagos 39. I love the red text on the dial. I love the fact that it's titanium, it's super light. But to me, the true classic is the Black Bay 58. And it's one of those watches that whether you have a 1-watch collection, a 10-watch collection, a 50-watch collection, or even just 3 or 4, it really fits in any collection of any size at any price point because, again, the looks are just absolutely classic and the proportions are just perfect. So this is one of my favorite timepieces from Tudor, and I think definitely one that's worthy of your consideration if you haven't already added one or experienced a Tudor Black Bay 58 in the collection. Now I'm going to pivot to another dive watch, one that I absolutely love as well, and this is from the Panerai Navy SEALs line. It is the reference 1412. Now I'm a big fan of Panerai. I've owned a couple of Panerais personally over the years, and I think that this Navy SEALs line really represents the best from Panerai. It's probably one of my favorite personal lines that the brand has made in the last decade. Just in terms of simplicity, the overall gunmetal finish of this watch, the size is great as well, but I just love the aesthetics of this. It feels so macho, it feels so rugged and tool watch. It kind of goes back to the history of Panerai, them making watches for the military, the Italian Navy specifically, but here you have it, of course, kind of in the US edition for the Navy SEALs. And again, that rugged tool watch look is just brought back and brought to the 21st century with modern build quality, modern proportions, modern luminescence, and a modern movement. And everything about this, I think, really screams the perfect Panerai. Again, it's simple, it's really all the essence of the Panerai sandwich dial with the Luminor crown, of course, and again, just the sizing is perfect. This one in 44mm, I think is a great size for most Panerai lovers. Personally, I wish they would make more Panerai Luminor options in 40mm, just because the 44 is just too big for my wrist, unfortunately. But it's such a great watch, such a great design, and they've really expanded the Navy SEALs line to include GMTs and chronographs, to the point that I think this is really, again, the best line Panerai has made in the last decade. It truly is a faithful tribute to their history while still remaining contemporary and unique in its aesthetic, despite it having all the kind of signs of a Panerai Luminor watch. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this watch, and you can actually pick these up at a retail under $10,000. At $9,800, I think you get an all-time classic wristwatch that has great proportions, great luminescence, great overall build quality. And again, the aesthetic itself is so true to the Panerai design DNA, and I think it's just an absolutely beautiful timepiece. Let's go to something a little bit more dressy, and this was a release last year done by IWC. It is the Horizon Blue Portuguese 7-Day. I absolutely love this wristwatch. The dial here is just spectacular. The IWC Portuguese 7-day is one of my personal favorite watches from IWC. I think that if they made this in 40 millimeters without question, I would own it in my personal collection. Unfortunately, at 42 millimeters, it just doesn't quite fit my 6¼ inch wrist. But I have to say, this dial is just absolutely spectacular. I used to own a Laurent Ferrier Galet Square with the ice blue dial, and this definitely reminds me of it. It has all the unique qualities of the Laurent Ferrier ice blue, but executed in a fashion that I think is very true to IWC and is very unique in its own right. With respect to this movement, this is an updated movement for the 7-day. It has a bunch of ceramic components now, which are actually a lot better and more improved for this wristwatch in terms of just durability of the movement. And I know it's a little bit more accurate as well, but the rest kind of remains the same in terms of just its overall dial layout, its complications, and the whole nine. But I think in this horizon blue dial color, it's just absolutely stunning. And at $26,700 for a white gold wristwatch with this kind of unique dial, this kind of history, of course, with the Portuguese line being so famous in the IWC range, it's hard for me to think of a watch that I would personally buy at this price point, just because, again, the beauty, the simplicity, the history of this wristwatch, everything about it screams IWC, but in a new reinvigorated format that I think suits it absolutely perfectly. I'm a big fan of this watch, and I am very much looking forward to seeing what IWC does in the future. Hopefully they continue to play with more color like this, because I think it is really their strong suit and it makes for an amazing product overall. Next, let's pivot to a watch that is definitely upped in terms of not only price point, but I think also in terms of uniqueness, and that is the Ulysse Nardin Freak X. This one in a green carbon version that I think is just a spectacular wristwatch. I even love this Velcro strap, for example, which makes it super ergonomic and comfortable on the wrist. Now, I have a friend, his name is Tony Trina. Shout out to Tony if you're watching this. And he actually said something that was pretty amazing. He said that the Freak X kind of reminds him almost of like a discount MB&F, but of course the Freak legacy being 20 plus years old now at this point, it has so much more history than, for example, the MB&F legacy machines. And I couldn't agree more and echo with the sentiments that he said. I always loved the Freak X. There was just something about it, right? The silicone escapement, not to mention that flying balance wheel that you get to view on the dial side. It being a lot more user-friendly than, for example, the Freak, which is a crownless watch, where here you actually have the crown. At 3 o'clock, it's a bit more traditional in that respect. Of course, you don't get that kind of proprietary flying carousel tourbillon. Here, it's just kind of a flying balance wheel, but it makes for such a visually stunning wristwatch. And in this carbon case, I think really throws back to Ulysse Nardin's kind of history with respect to making and using avant-garde materials, right? Whether it be, of course, carbon cases or even the use of silicone parts in their movements. They're one of the pioneers of this technology, and they've done it in sequence now for over 20 years, really. And it's helped make not only watches more serviceable and have longer service intervals, but also be more amagnetic, more accurate, and just more durable overall. So props to Ulysse Nardin. I think they're making a ton of great watches, and I think that the Freak X is one of the best for the brand. Now, the price point on this watch is $35,000, and considering all the technology that you're getting, considering, of course, the unique quality, of course, the incredible history of Ulysse Nardin, and just overall the design language of it, it's hard for me to think of a competitor at this price point creating this kind of incredible watchmaking that has all the incredible components of what I would consider to be like an independent watch manufacturer, but that is making kind of serially produced watches at an extremely, extremely high level. I love this watch. I'm a big fan of it. Again, in terms of proportions, aesthetics, wearability, ergonomics with this strap, I think they really hit a home run with this one, and it's already a couple of years old, and it has been one of the best sellers for the brand, and I totally understand why. Now, lastly is going to be one of my favorite watches released in 2024, and this is the Glashütte Panel Lunar Inverse. Watch and a design that I think really is at the core essence of what Glashütte Original is all about. I know a lot of watch collectors will be pretty divisive when it comes to Glashütte in terms of their designs. A lot of collectors thinking maybe they look a little bit too much like Lange. I'm not personally in that camp. I understand the Glashütte heritage. I understand as well their amazing designs, their amazing price point and value overall. But there's one thing that is for sure. The Glashütte Panel Inverse is a distinct design that can only be recognized with the Glashütte brand. And that's why I'm such a big fan of it personally. It's a watch that I own myself, and one probably I will actually buy again in the future. I can't have everything, and unfortunately I had to go in the collection. But it's one of the most unique looking and cool looking watches And for the price point, you're getting one of the best made wristwatches out there on the market. Now, what makes this so special, of course, is the fact that it's a limited edition of 200 pieces, first and foremost. Secondly, it's the first of its kind, this kind of panel inverse featuring a moon phase, a large moon phase with an aventurine dial, as well as, not to mention, that hyper-realistic kind of photo image of the moon, which is super, super nice. And it contrasts all of that with a guilloche base plate, not to mention the guilloche on the double swan neck regulating bridge. I mean, there's just so much to love about this wristwatch. Even the fact that it's automatic, which makes it really user-friendly. The big day complication, which is super practical for everyday use. Everything about this wristwatch was thought out and executed to an extremely, extremely high level. And when you consider it, for example, to its counterpart, like let's say a Longo 1 moon phase, this is so much more unique and I think so much more special because it has way more handwork overall. You see the case, the soldered on lugs. That's really a handmade case. All the vertical brushing on the mid case, the polished bezel, the polished center case, and the polished case back, that incredible guilloche work. Again, the aventurine moon phase. There's so much to love about this wristwatch. And we're talking at a price point of $42,600. It's, again, hard for me to find a better value wristwatch considering this is a handmade wristwatch in platinum in a limited edition of only 200 pieces with this stunning guilloche and aventurine moon phase. I think it's probably one of the nicest watches Glashütte has ever made. And I think if they continue to make pieces like this, they're definitely going to see a very big surge, I think, in overall collectability because they're what I consider to be the German JLC. But in terms of quality for the money and quality for the price point, I think they're actually above JLC. There's way more handwork, way more actual kind of watchmaking that goes into their watches themselves, and they're at a fraction of the price point generally of what JLC sells for. So this is one of my favorite watches. I think it's absolutely spectacular and definitely one I consider if you're one of those collectors who has everything and just want something very unique and a bit different in the collection. So guys, these are 5 amazing timepieces that we have here at Burdeen's Jewelry. If you're interested in any of these or any of the other 20 brands, or of course any of our pre-owned selection, feel free to hit our website linked in the description below. It would be a pleasure for us to help you out and achieve your dream timepiece. Guys, my name is Marco for the Burdeen's Jewelry YouTube channel. I just want to thank you all so much again for watching and for this incredible support. We just hit 10,000 subscribers and I couldn't be more thankful for all of your support. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. As always, my name is Marco for Burdeen's Jewelry and I'll see you in the next one.